G'day guys and welcome, my name is Michael and I am the DeadAussieGamer, here to share with you my tips, tricks, ideas and strategies for playing and running tabletop role-playing games. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the foundational things for designing and role-playing bards. Now look, there's a lot of videos out there who talk about bards in the, like kind of a critical way, like this is what's good about a bard, this is what's bad about a bard, yada 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 yada. You know what? That's not what we're going to be talking about. We are going to be talking about how to design a bard, some of the expectations that you can have, and how best to bring up your performance to role-play them at your next campaign. Now, for those of you who have followed my channel and some of my Discords and stuff, you may kind of know the reason why I've made a video about making bards. It's nothing to do with anything I'm excited about, and definitely don't watch till the end of the video in order to find out exactly why, because I don't have something super exciting to share with you guys. No, I absolutely do. Oh my god, yeah. So do stick around for that. But nonetheless, today's video is inspired by my very, very wanton desire to create a bard, and I'm going to share some of my design tips with you guys at home, so strap yourselves in as we delve into this magical and mysterious world of the bard. Now, first and foremost, I define bard in a particular way. For me, a bard is a storyteller, someone who has something they want to communicate en masse to the people around them using the art form of their choice in order to communicate that. Whether you are a musician on stage performing in front of a crowd, you're an orator telling a story in a local tavern, you happen to be a painter creating a giant mural to a story that you have wished to share with people, or a particular person you want to support. Or even a cook behind the scenes creating art on a plate. Whatever type of bard you happen to be, you are, of course, sharing a part of your story with whomever happens to want to consume the art you present. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, to begin, you need to understand bards are very dramatic. They are very much like myself. They are people who are charismatic. They are people who draw attention to themselves. So playing a bard starts with the expectation that that is what's going to happen. It means that as a charisma-based character, you are likely going to be the one who is going to be very well suited to social encounters, such as negotiating for extra money, or perhaps diplomatizing as an ambassador between two different cultures, or telling someone to rock off because you're the best at intimidating people. Whatever the reason, a bard is quite skilled at all of these. Now, that's not the only thing that they're skilled at, and this is probably one of the most contentious things that happen, and I want to outline this straight up. There are tons of people who say that bards are fifth class, meaning that they don't really fit anywhere. They can kind of do magic, they can kind of do healing, they can kind of attack, and they can kind of do skills. In my opinion and my experience of several thousands of games, bards are very good at any of these roles. Are they as good as the people who mainstay these roles? Like, can they fight as good as a barbarian, or can they heal as good as a cleric? The answer is going to be no. But that being said, when you look at the balance of most role-playing games, bards do perfectly fine in any of these roles whenever they decide to. So yes, that's an expectation I want to put out there, because there's just so many like memes and videos and stuff like that saying, bards they die all the time. They just play silly songs and that's it. That's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. You can quote me on that. Michael, 2021. Bards are not fodder. All right. So what does it take to play a good bard at the table? Well, first of all, I'm going to say this. You want to open up your paint box. Bards inherently are creative characters, and the more creative you are with your bard, the more creative your bard in turn becomes. I see a lot of bards being played as singers. Why? Because mechanically, singers keep your hands free, meaning you can use a sword and a shield, you can cast your spells, you can do a bunch of different things. Now, that's a really great mechanical reason. So is using, being a percussion expert, having a giant war drum strapped to your belly, and having 2 war hammers to club people to death with. There are a number of different creative ways that you can play bards. But one thing I think that does get left out quite often is the different types of art forms that exist in the world. Play a dancer who uses martial arts. Play a culinary expert who uses a actual cooking kit that they walk around with and magics to heat up really, really hot broth and use splash weapons in order to inspire people. Like here, soup's on. You get a ladle, you spin it around with the expert grace of an archer, and then you whip this wonderful bouillon into the mouth of your ally, and ooh, I feel inspired. I want more of that, and I can't eat it while I'm fighting. I'm gonna kill you, right? There are a number of really amazing, creative, and artistic ways for you to play these dudes, and it starts with you at the core, exploring the art and the expression of your bard. Where to from there? Once you've outlined that, the next big design element is deciding what, I guess, skill expertise you want to be falling into, right? Now, all bards are skilled at the gift of the gab. Any charisma-based skill, deception, bluff, diplomacy, persuasion, all these sorts of things, they are a bard's wheelhouse. Does that mean you are obliged to have to, engage in all of that? Of course not. Like with any game, just because you've got the highest stats doesn't mean that that's your role, especially when it comes to role-playing and social encounters. Unlike combat, anyone can pick up a sword and just start swinging, right? But when it comes to talking, the barbarian might have something very, very, wise to say, but then because they just don't have the stats, they don't bother. A bard is someone who has a ton of different stats and a ton of really, really high charisma-based stats. But what happens when you, the player, struggle to find those kind of words? What happens when the gift of the gab is your characters only? Well, here's my advice. GMs, if you're listening, do not expect your players to roleplay an entire scene in order to use their skill. In my opinion, that would be the same equivalent of you asking your barbarian to hold this giant war axe and smack it into that door in order to determine how much damage they did. Instead, what you want to do is you want to encourage them to outline their expectations of their conversation. For example, you walk into a local town. You have found out that there is a lockdown and the guards aren't letting anyone pass. You walk up to the guard and you say, excuse me, sir, what seems to be the trouble? Is there a reason why this place is, currently being locked down? And the guard turns and says, oh, it's the plague and we're not allowed to let anyone out of the city. Well, can we let someone in? Now, at this point, the GM could turn around and say, what does the bard say to try and convince this person to let them in? Oh, I could bluff and pretend I'm a doctor. Okay, I'd like to do that. I would like to tell this person that I'm a doctor and use my deception to try and let him to allow us to pass. Don't then say, very well, then have that conversation. Let that be the conversation. You have outlined very clearly who the target of your conversational skill is. You've outlined what your goal of what you're actually saying happens to be. And more importantly, you've outlined the result you are chasing. I am here as a doctor. I'm trying to help out with the problem here. I would like for you to let me pass. Easy. Roll the dice, yada, 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 and they let you in or not, right? This is a basic conversation, and that is the minimum expectation I have for a bard, or for any really conversation skill. Now, if you happen to be very, very lazy, and you say, yeah, I want to get in, what do I need to roll? Don't do that. As a player, don't just rely on high numbers and high stats to let you get into places. Barest minimum, you need to converse to a degree. Now, if you are incredibly good at talking, if you are a performer, if you are someone who is very comfortable getting into the role-play sense of it, then as a GM, I also recommend rewarding that. Don't just say, oh yeah, cool, you've role-played really, really well, and just make the same role that you would have done had you not had this whole conversation. Encourage people to engage and talk and have a good time with that by giving small bonuses, whether it's giving them advantage because they're in a D&D game or giving them a static modifier for other games. Whatever it is, give them a reward for being able to engage in that, because the more you reward it, the more you'll see it. Now, that is conversational skills. But what do we do when we want to perform? I mean, performing is such a big thing. Inspire courage, inspire your allies. Well, I can't play the saxophone. I mean, my character can, but I sure can't. What do I do then? Well, in that particular instance, I always recommend, if you want to elevate your game, pick up whether or not you're using Spotify or an app of your choice, find some music and some tunes that really kind of speak to your character. Make a little playlist and go with it. I also highly recommend Sirenscape if you have not checked that out already. I will put a link in the description below. There are a ton of wonderful musical soundtracks that you can accumulate through that app and play it at your game. With, of course, your GM's permission. Don't just sort of hijack the game and go, oh, cool, I'm playing, Sabbath, yay. That being said, there are some GMs who will love that, who'll be like, yeah! And then suddenly, your characters are like warring with the orcs to Black Sabbath. Yay! Whatever the case is. So yeah, playing those kind of songs, that's a fantastic way to kind of get your party going, not just as the characters, but as the players as well. If you happen to be one of those rare and wonderful and amazingly talented individuals who are musicians and actual artists and the like, do not be afraid to express yourself, right? I do not have that kind of artistic bone. I am a good orator, but yes, no musical talents, I'm afraid. So yeah. If you are a really, really good person like that, then yeah, make a few little songs. Make create limericks or draw a portrait, or better still. And I did this once for one of my games. Have a character come in with a fantasy-inspired bit of food and give it to the players. Oh my god, that was so good. And if you haven't checked out Quincy's Tavern, lots of really inspirational food there as well. Again, I'll put links in the description below. But yeah, that is what I would recommend when you look at performing. Now, let's jump aside. We've covered, kind of your face character, being able to interact and talk. We've, of course, talked about your performance stuff. What else is there to a bard? Well, the next two elements I'm going to talk about are, I guess, in general for classes, but more so for the bards. And that is uplifting your teammates. Now, I'm a very, very positive, forward individual. I love uplifting my allies and my teammates. Doesn't matter what role I happen to be. If I'm a barbarian, I'm trying to protect my team. I'm trying to lift them up. I'm trying to set them up in positions that they're going to be better off in. Even if that means I miss my turn because all I've done is kind of hold a door open so that my allies can get through before I, get crushed. Whatever, That for me is important in any game. Bards themselves uplift people as well. If you have the opportunity to, find those little moments, those little things to personalize your inspirations in order to uplift your teammates. Because not only does that increase the roleplay aspect of it, but it also really helps the other players become fond of not only your role-playing style, but your characters as well. Saying something nice, like saying, oh my god, nice shot, you got him right in the eye. Oh, hey, I've got an idea for you. I bet you can't hit him in the elbow next. And that person might go, oh, I bet you I can. And then suddenly, boom, bardic inspiration, get an extra yada, 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 right? Working and creating that relationship amidst combat is such a wonderful thing to do. And I highly recommend, if you are uplifting a character with your bardic abilities, then uplift them. Alternatively, when you are tearing down your enemies, it is important to be provocative. It is important to be witty and fun and quirky. Don't just cuss at people. And I know this sounds awful, but I've played in games where someone has cast Vicious Mockery, which is a D&D 5th edition spell, and all they did was just start cussing out the GM. Remember, guys, the GM is a human being, presumably, unless we've somehow taught robots and chimps to GM for us. If so, please introduce them to me. I need to get into more games. But yeah, if you're tearing down a character or an NPC, you are shouting at your GM. You're shouting at them. So again, make something fun, make something witty, make something entertaining. I had a character who was a bard that was a stand-up comedian. He had performed comedy as his thing, and I based him entirely off Dylan Moran. Everything I said was kind of based off stuff that I'd heard from Black Books, kind of paraphrased in a role-playing setting, but it made for a really, really funny and engaging moment where I was just, demoralizing my enemies with these kind of little jokes. Everyone was laughing, everyone was having a good time. So do that as well, If you want to be intimidating, find some good insults. And if you do find some good insults, try to, make them roleplay worthy. One of my favorite ones is, you half-drunk son of a bugbear. Have those cool little, slurs, I guess, that aren't necessarily slurs. They're just kind of cute little funny things that you would probably come across when you play in a fantasy setting. So yes, uplifting, tearing down others. Where to next? Well, the last little piece that I'm going to leave you guys with in terms of playing and role-playing a bard. Sometimes, and this goes just in general for a bunch of classes as well. Sometimes, while you might have the greatest skill to be able to converse, to be able to talk, and produce the best results for social encounters, we exist in a role-playing game. We exist in a role-playing space, and we want to make sure that everyone is on stage. Even though your character might always want to be on stage, you, the player, need to respect the fact that everyone deserves to have a place on that platform. Don't fall into the trap of turning around and telling people, well, I've got the highest charisma, I should talk to them. Or, oh, don't bother lying. I know that you come up with this really cool idea and plan to get us through there, but let me do it because my stats are higher. Don't do it. If you fail, then you fail forward. You fail and you help by making sure that the ally is covered. Let's go back to our scene at the front gate. Let's say that the barbarian came through and says, well, we're going in whether you like it or not. The guard says, actually, no one's coming in or out. Oh, I'm going to intimidate you. You're going to let us in or I'm going to punch you in the nose. You failed. The guard is now hostile towards you. He draws out his spear and he gets ready to attack. Whoa. Sorry, sir. I do apologize for my friend. We've been on the road for a long time. Look, just between us, if the quarantine is there, then we understand the plague is a terrible thing. And we understand the risks. We appreciate that you're trying to help us and protect us. But we can't spend another night in the forest. There are greater dangers than the plague that lie lurking in this dark woods. Please allow us to respite. We will, of course, respect the quarantine and await for the healers to do their work. But please allow us to rest. Boom! Suddenly, you haven't turned to the barbarian and say, no, don't intimidate them, I'll intimidate them. You have allowed them to play their course and you've backed them up. You've acknowledged what they've done. You've basically tried to do what they have been doing, which is try to get through with a social skill. And you now have a better chance of it. But yeah, give them that opportunity. Allow them that moment to do that. All right, thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope this video was really, really good. If you have any questions at all about role-playing bards or what types of bard characters that you like, do let me know in the comments below. I love hearing about bards. They're some of my favorite characters. And on that note, I do have a very special thing to share with you guys. Now, for those of you who were not aware, there is a interesting website, a hidden website called thebardbook.com, from whence in comes a Kickstarter campaign by the illustrious and wonderful Satine Phoenix and the wonderful folks at Apothis Studios. There is a new Kickstarter for a campaign setting book featuring a city called Selvata, a kingdom run and ruled by bards. And that has got me just so excited about playing bards. Oh my god, you have no idea. But you know what? I'm not just going to talk and gush and stuff like that. I'm going to show you guys exactly why I'm so excited. And this is why.
To save Salvata, the city that we love, an evil force has corrupted our home. Many fell and now the boss they stand alone. Blessed power rains down in waterfall. Holy magic desired by the Emerald Cabal. Injustice rots city's very soul. Oppression is the noble's only goal. Rebellion rings in every street and every tavern hall. Now the time has come, my friends, to all answer the call. All answer the Sirens, Battle of the Bards is an epic 5th edition campaign and setting, set in the decadent city of Salvata. Filled to the brim with over 300 pages, 20 adventures, over 10 new bard subclasses, and countless magical items, this is a fully immersive adventure. Mystery, intrigue, and deception lurk within every dark alley. The city of Salvata features 10 districts, including battle coliseums, amphitheaters, comedy clubs, taverns, bazaars, underground magic fighting rings, a new bardic university, and much, much more. You don't need to be a bard to adventure here. All are welcome in Salvata. Dive even further into the story with our partners, Mixed Dimensions, Wormwood, Level Up Dice, Campaign Coins, and Sirenscape. With a Weave storytelling platform, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, Shard, and Foundry VTT, you can even play virtually. With a full orchestral soundtrack, multiple endings, and new game mechanics to encourage exploration and improvisation, Sirens Battle of the Bards places your party not only in the crucible of conquest, but at the heart of a battle for the soul of a growing empire. Will you sell out? Will the city be ground to dust? Will the heavens be lured down and open before you? Will you join the Emerald Cabal, the Rebellion, or forge your own path? The fate of tens of thousands is in your party's hands. Join our Kickstarter and inspire revolution.
Oh my god, right? Oh, geez. Like, yeah. No, if that does not make you want to play a bard right now, I don't know what will. So, yeah, look, guys, thebardbook.com. Link will be in the description below. Go check that out. And if you've watched that and you have ideas running through your head, leave them in chat. Let me know. What is a bard that you would love to see in this campaign? So, yeah, tell me about all of that. Thank you very much for listening to us, guys. I hope that this video was very, very useful for you. I hope I've got you hyped up about bards. If I have... and of course, very special thank you to, of course, Hero Forge, where I got to make my awesome bard. And if you guys make some awesome bards, leave them in chat. Again, I'd love to see your Hero Forge mini of your bard. And of course, a very special thank you to Sirenscape, of course, who are, of course, a wonderful inspirational source for bardic music. And a very special thank you to, of course, the members of Apothis Studio for, of course, being able to speak with us sometime soon, hopefully, where we will get to delve into some of Satine and Jameson's information about the setting, bards, and all of that, which will feature on Robert Hartley GM's channel. And at some point or another, hopefully, we will be doing a one-shot set in that world as well, so do stay tuned for that. At some point, I'll put all the links in the description below, and we will obviously be doing that with none other than the delightful, the wonderful, the amazingly talented, dreaded GM. And if you don't know who that is, what are you doing with your life? Go check him out as well. He's in the link now. Look, go check that out. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and till next time, as always, game hard or die trying. Good night, everybody.